What's up, my beautiful Rose? Pretty Maine-iac here with kind of a picture of how the NBA playoffs is looking. It's a new series, like I said in the first one. I want to do every Sunday, and I think it's going to be exciting just to see how things change throughout the season and to kind of give props to the teams that rise early on and maybe fade away because they still deserve some recognition for their success, as example by the Sacramento Kings, currently the 6th seed in the West. I think that is absolutely incredible that the Kings have managed to pop up to the 6th seed in the West at a current record of 6-3, winning 5 straight. They were 1-3 and have popped off 5 straight wins. Absolutely incredible. Other teams of note, like the Jazz, lost 3 straight, bounced back to the 10th seed, tied with the Lakers and the Timberwolves and the Pelicans. Pelicans also, I believe, lost 5 straight. They started out 4-0, so they were relatively high last week. And then they dropped out. There's technically, it's really early on. These standings don't necessarily matter, but if you just look at the change from episode 1 to episode 2, it is incredible. Teams have gotten bounced out. They went from top 5 to out of the playoffs, or out of the playoffs to a top 6 or something like that. It is absolutely incredible. Teams of note maybe missing it so far are obviously Timberwolves and the Jazz in the West, in the Pelicans, Rockets as well. If you look at that, Jazz, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Rockets, all out of the playoffs right now in the West as it stands. The surprise teams that probably replaced them, Grizzlies, Kings, Clippers, it's just incredible season so far. So let's go over it real quick. We have the matchups of the Warriors versus the Thunder. I like this matchup. Steph Curry against Russell Westbrook. Warriors have the obvious advantage here if this were an actual matchup. Probably Warriors in 4 or 5 if the Thunder could steal one. Then you have the Grizzlies at the Timberwolves. This is a very interesting matchup here. I think over a 5-game series, the Timberwolves, or the Trailblazers, sorry, I don't know why I said Timberwolves. Trailblazers would have the advantage here. I think they'd take it in 6. I like the matchup here, though. You have the rough veterans of the Grizzlies versus the grudge-bearing players of the Trailblazers. Always think they're underrated. Always think they're disrespected, with good reason, because they don't have any success in the postseason, especially last year. Then you have the Spurs versus the Kings. This one would be very, very interesting. You have all the young guns of the Kings against the veterans of the Spurs with Greg Popovich at coach. It would be very interesting. I think this could be a very long series, maybe 6 or 7 games. I think overall the Spurs would have the advantage here and they'd take it, but with the athleticism of the Kings, they could possibly pull off the upset in a 7-game series. Who knows? Then you have the Nuggets at the Clippers. I like the Clippers. They are a really good team this year, but I think the Nuggets would have the clear advantage. They are only technically the 2nd seed right now because they have one less win than the Warriors. Both teams only have 1 loss, so that would be it's going to be a very interesting race to watch. And then you have the Raptors in the East against the Miami Heat. I think the Raptors have this one hands down. I think it would be a 4-game sweep. Then you have the 76ers against the Boston Celtics here. I think overall, Boston Celtics having slightly better shooting if they can get their freaking act together. Always falling in love with threes with small leads late in the game. Always missing them, and then always falling behind because of it. It's very freaking annoying to watch. 76ers, extremely talented team. I can never say enough about Joel Embiid. He is playing absolutely incredible. Should be considered one of the front runners for the MVP. Because I think last year when Ben Simmons was showing up, everyone was thinking, oh, it's going to be Simmons and Embiid's team. No. This is hands down Embiid's team. Embiid can shoot the threes. He can control the boards. He can control the paint. He can control the whole court. He is much more talented than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is an incredible passer. Yes, I understand that. But Embiid is just a better defender, better defender, better three-point shooter, better overall shooter, better rebounder, stuff like that. Embiid is just absolutely incredible. If he can stay healthy, this team is in a good place for a long run. I think it would be probably a 6 or 7 game series. Last year it was a 5-game series, but I think where these teams are more familiar with each other, I think it will be a little bit longer. Still think the Celtics win though, and possibly 6 or 7. Then you have the Pacers at the Bobcats or Hornets. I don't know why I said Bobcats. I don't know. Thinking of the old franchise. I think the Pacers win this one. I think it should be a close one though. I think it would be probably 5 or 6 games, but I think the games themselves would be relatively close. Advantage here probably definitely goes to Oladipo for me. Sabonis is actually having a really good season for the Pacers as well. And then you have the Bucks at the Pistons. Now, last time I did this, I believe the Detroit Pistons were really high up because they were 4-0, but now they're about 4-5 after losing 5 straight, starting with two beatdowns in a row to the Celtics. Um, Obviously, Bucks have the advantage here. Drummond is kind of fallen off a little bit. Hasn't had his last couple of games haven't been that good. But it would be interesting to see Blake Griffin versus Giannis in a playoff series. I think it would be a 4-game sweep. But like the Pacers, I think it would be relatively close with not too many blowouts. So let's see what NBA 2K has to say for the first round. Hopefully they agree with me a little bit. I'm going to have the CPU adjust from rotation. As Daniel Tice, day to day, I'm going to always have computer adjust rotation there so I don't have to worry about that. And that is already interesting right there. Like I said, Bucks in about 4 or 5. About what I said. Pacers in 6. About what I said as well. Celtics got their ass beat in 5. That is incredible. I think that's fun. And then you have the Raptors actually taking 6 games to beat the Heat. It's kind of a surprise. Denver beating the Clippers in 6. Spurs beating the Kings in 5. Like I said, with the Warriors beating the Thunder in 5. Memphis winning in 6. Not too many upsets here, because if you think about it with the non-bias, Philadelphia, Boston, you could consider really close. Both teams have their strengths. Now, this matchup here in the next round is very interesting. I think the Warriors sweep the Grizzlies. Just the talent alone on the Warriors is gonna just rip through the Grizzlies. Then you have Denver versus San Antonio. Greg Popovich versus a really talented Denver team. I think it would be Denver in 7 in this matchup. I would love to see it. A great coach versus just a great gelling team. Always fun to watch those kind of matchups. And you have the Toronto versus Philadelphia 76ers. I like the Toronto in 6 in this one. Like I said with the Celtics versus Sixers, I think that the overall Toronto is just a little bit more talented. I love the defensive capabilities of Kawhi Leonard. You could probably put him on Joel Embiid. Whether he would succeed at all in defending him in the paint is yet to be seen, just because Kawhi can defend anybody. He can defend the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. He is one of the best defenders in the league, so that would be an interesting matchup. Who do they put him up against? Do they put him up against Simmons, Saric, Covington, Fultz? Who knows? And then you have the Bucks at the Pacers. I think the Bucks win this one in 7. I think it should be a close series. Giannis versus Oladipo. That's a good storyline there. But I'll take the better player in Giannis in that one all around. And then we simulate the current round because my team got knocked out. Any surprises here? Not necessarily. Besides Memphis lasting 6 games, I guess that's a surprise. We have the 1 and 2 seeds versus the 3 and 5 seeds. The Bucks went down, but it was a 7-game series, so that's not relatively surprising. I guess the biggest surprise is the Sixers ripping through the Raptors. They they haven't went to a game 7 yet against Boston and Toronto, which is absolutely incredible. Matchups here, I would pick the 76ers against the Pacers. I think 76ers are a better team. They would control the boards, control the paint. Pacers might have slightly better shooting, but athleticism favors the Sixers all day. I think it would be a 5-game series. I think so far the Pacers would be their weakest opponent of that playoffs. And then on the other side, the upstart Nuggets versus the Warriors, a combined record of, I believe, 15-2 so far this season. This would be incredible. Warriors all the way though, maybe in 6. But hopefully, no. Pacers in 5, and the Warriors in 5. So, like I said, I don't know if I want to change how this video is done further down the line. If you guys have any suggestions, like I've said before, I kind of want to do maybe 2 or 3 simulations just to see if things change. But this is just more of an analysis of the potential matchups and what 2K says and what I think of how the standings currently are playing out. It's more of a review of the current status of the NBA, the teams, rankings, stuff like that, and how I think all matchups would play out if they ended up like this. So multiple simulations necessarily isn't the key, but let's get ready for a Warriors championship. Man, how'd I know? Again, Steph Curry is the MVP with 25 points per game. But, interesting note, it took him 6 games. I don't think it took him 6 games last time. No sweeps. No sweeps in the simulation, which is very rare indeed. Fact that the Pacers took 6 games against the Hornets, but beat the 76ers in 5, is absolutely incredible. I cannot believe it. The 76ers beat the Celtics in 5, but lost to the Pacers in 5. They beat 2 of the best teams in the East in 5, but not that. So, if I look at this, it's... I can't really explain it. This game was 123 to 105 in favor of the Pacers. If I look at the Pacers here, that would probably explain it. Oladipo went off for 39 points. The 76ers didn't have anybody over 20. Covington only had 2 points. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. Anyway, that was actually the surprise of this simulation. Definitely the Pacers. Mad respect to them. They had a good win against the Celtics last night in real life. It'll be interesting to see how the playoff picture changes next Sunday. Anyways, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you next week. Peace.